Good afternoon, everyone. It is October 9th, 2022. Globex has not opened up yet. That won't happen for another few hours. This video is going to go over a plan for the week of October 10th to 14th. So that is the RTH sessions. Now, given we've had some large moves this week, a 200-point range, I think it would be important to kind of go over where we're at. So what happened was we sold off down to new lows on the year, 35.95, towards the end of the prior week before this week's action, and we ended up opening up the week, ramped up. We had that squeeze above the 3650s, ramped up, and we came into this balance up here and then sold off on Friday on the I forget what news came out, but we did have some news. It might have been the non-farm payrolls, I believe. Now, on a bigger time frame, where we entered and where we were resisting was this prior balance from June and July up here. And you can extend that balance, this 3700-ish to 3900-ish balance out to the right here. And perhaps we hide our drawings. And you can see we have this balance zone where we enter, catch a bid, kind of get to the middle of that balance, get a temporary bid, sell off. That balance low becomes a resistance for the majority of the week. We poke our head above, churn, collect inventory, and I believe there was a large player collecting a short position around 37.94.95, and that is where we sold off. And when we sold off, not only were we falling out of this lower balance and what was our key resistance and key support, we fall out of this balance. We break out of what was the developing weekly value area low. We fall below this weekly VWAP, which had been so potent during the rest of the week, and we've now come back to the the Q4 open around 36.35. So we've kind of just done a big circle. It seems is what we've done. So now let's put on the lines again. We do have some news this week. Just Brainard talking on Monday, toward a little later in the afternoon. You've got Messer around noon. Wednesday, we do have PPI and FOMC minutes, so that might be a slower session. Thursday is sort of where I'm expecting the larger moves to take place, as well as Friday with retail and University of Michigan sentiment and something else they're doing, I think consumer confidence. So what I'll be looking for is it's not unusual for after such a large move to get a churn, a smaller range sort of day. Now, last week's value area lows sitting around 36.87, I believe, 36.87 three quarters, where we kind of were spiking around on the 30-minute chart. Sorry, on a yeah, on the 30-minute chart. We're kind of hanging around here before we actually sold off. So what I'm going to be looking for is to see if we can get that a bit of a move back up towards that value area, that weekly value area low, perhaps back up to the high of the session. However, I doubt it. Maybe that happens closer to Tuesday. So what I'll be looking for is some sort of a slower session on Monday, kind of likely a balancy session. And then Tuesday, we may actually visit the highs and test this pivot area. And then Wednesday, probably come back down. And Thursday, we'll have our flush, likely to below the Q3 low and into that Globex low of the year around 72 or 71, and likely flushing it aggressively towards the end of the week. Other than that, the structure has become pretty clear on some higher time frames. So I think it would be safe to say that we have accepted below that lower balance. Let's just highlight it again. We've accepted below this lower balance area around 3700-ish. I call it 3700 to 3750. So I would be quite surprised with a move above it. If we do get above that balance, I think we will end up peaking into the highs of last week's balance and likely ripping it to the upside. And then we get into this 38.55, 39.20 sort of area, just the highs and lows of these balances. But for the large part, what I'll be looking for is that we have now collected a significant amount of inventory, and it's likely that we kind of hold that 37.50 area, this low of balance, perhaps it's simpler if I do this for you. I would look for us to kind of hold this area and kind of churn around here for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for the large part. Maybe dipping a little bit lower, but kind of securing the low of the year and churning within this area for the first few days. And then Thursday and Friday, having that CPI news pre-market, then the retail news pre-market, and U of M sentiment at 10 o'clock. That's when I would expect us to make those further moves down to lower levels. Notably, 35 or 34.96 half being the pandemic low to the all-time high, and the pre-COVID all-time high being at 33.93.75. So down here, and for the half back of that large range being right around here. So this may get tested, and if it does get tested, I wouldn't be surprised if they run it through a little bit, run some stops, as there will be a lot of eyes there. But again, for the most part, keeping it pretty simple this week. Looking for just a general churn around this area, and then on Thursday getting our move into lower levels, wherever they may be, and playing it safely intraday from level to level. Hope that makes sense. It's a fairly short weekly video this week because I just don't see I don't see a lot of scenarios. I'd be quite surprised if we do pop these highs, because it does open up these former highs of balance. It does open up this sort of area, and I don't really see that happening this week after such a collection of inventory selling off right to the Q4 open. It seems unlikely. Momentum should have seen us. We should have maybe balanced at this little small sessional balance. We should have maybe tagged that and held there for a day, and then moved up to the FOMC spike base at 38.30 and started getting into this area. But instead, we just churned here, and we sold off very heavily on Friday. Anyway, this video is getting a little bit long at 7 minutes now. Hope that makes sense. Again, try and get an idea of momentum with this 37.50-ish area, and otherwise we're going to be looking for a slower, churny Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before that Thursday, Friday sell-off. Hope that makes sense. If there are any changes to this, they will be posted to Twitter. The link to that is in the bio. Trade safe.